Hey there, I'm Caden Rains, and welcome to my basement. Today we're looking for a fright and something that goes bump in the night with the Night of the Living Dummy figure from the Goosebumps action figures. We'll see if they live up to that. This is the only one of these that I plan to get because while I did read some Goosebumps as a kid, I was an Animorphs kid. I did not get into much of the Goosebumps. I did watch the show too, and everybody loves Slappy from the show. So when I saw him, I wanted him to. I did wait for him to get marked down, though I wish I'd waited a little longer. Though the few stores I still see these figures in, they have not gone below 20 when they started at 25. So, you know, if you're not into Goosebumps, the takeaway might just be this might be too expensive for what you're getting. Now, the other figures are closer to what, you might expect from an action figure. And they do come with an accessory and a build thing, but I've never been big on those because most of the time the buildable figures are like, even if I want that buildable figure, there's between 2 and 4 figures in the lineup that I just don't care about. Like, take for instance this lineup. The only one of these that stuck with me much is really Slappy. I remember the Haunted Mask story, so I might have considered that, but these others, there's bunches of mummies. There's a mummy coming out, or there is a mummy out with the Scooby-Doo series. The Mud Monsters, I don't think that's very iconic. At least it didn't stick with me. The Scarecrow's is kind of unique, but even then, it's like, if you're not a big Goosebumps head, I just don't think these might be for you. Like I said, I got Slappy because he's the Night of the Living Dummy, and you gotta get that one. Asterisk, you don't have to. Um, like I said, I kind of wish I had been willing to wait some more, but the one store that still had him around me, I still see the others or some of the others at certain locations that have a markdown. But the one store that still had him, he was the very last one. They hadn't gone down in price in a while, so I bit the bullet. You only live once, and this is what I chose to do with it. So anyway, let's take him out of the packaging, look at what else he comes with, and go from there. So here is Slappy out of the packaging, along with the primary accessory each of these figures gets, which is this slime book cover thing. And it has a spot for him to stand on, which we'll look at that in just a second. But it's just something that they all come with, but they come with a different card, which is just the book front and back cover. So if you've got something this size, you can replace it. It's not part of the plastic. It's just a piece of cardboard, really thin cardboard or cardstock. So, that's at least that makes it somewhat usable outside of this Goosebumps display. So if you just want something gross, of course now he doesn't want to get on there, to be in the background, you can have that. There's nothing stopping you from using this for something else. Maybe not even sticking something in there. Just have it if you've got a window as part of your display, just put this in front of the window and it'll look like slime's coming in. So, there's something. I don't really like this thing. I think it looks fine for what it is, but considering every one of the figures comes with it, that's just, it's one of the reasons I think this thing hasn't been getting marked down, because it's got this huge chunk of plastic in there, regardless of what size of the figure you actually get. So, again, I might be coming across kind of harsh on this, but I'm not the biggest. I don't have that nostalgia the way some people would. I've got enough that I wanted this, and I saw it mildly marked down at a time where I could get it without, having to worry about it. So I did. And, I've got a place for him or an idea for it. So I don't regret it too much, but I wish he had been marked down more. Now, we saw on the back of the packaging that there's the Build-A-Fill figure, and because Slappy is like the main thing a lot of people remember from Goosebumps, especially the show, he got the majority of the buildable figure. So this is Bonesy or Curly. He's built a bonehead Curly, even though his hair is a mohawk. So it kind of makes me feel like the other 4 figures, you just get one limb, and I know that makes sense, but usually the buildable figure's fairly large, and this is, I mean, he's not going to be that much bigger with his whole body. So that kind of seems like you're getting a little bit ripped off on the buildable section. But if I was going to get one, at least I get this part so I can just stick the skeleton bit somewhere and just say that his limbs got blown off or something. So at least there's that. Maybe that's how they justify Slappy being the same price as the others, because he's got the majority of the buildable figure. I don't know. I guess that makes a kind of sense. But anyway, that's Slappy with the majority of Curly. I like the figure. I guess we didn't really look at his articulation. For what he is, it's not great, but he's also a ventriloquist dummy. He's not really supposed to move that much. Like his elbows don't move, his knees don't move. And my biggest complaint is the way his legs move at the waist, is that it's just kind of ugly. Yeah, it's still kind of in line with the way a ventriloquist dummy moves, but I think they could have done slightly better there. Also, it would have been nice if his mouth could go up and down. That might have been asking for too much, given that these aren't the most intricate, but because that price never went down, and what I've been talking about is at Walmart's. That's the only place I ever saw them. They were available on Amazon at one point, but this one, his price actually went up. I saw him for $50 at one point on there. It's like, no. That might have been one of the reasons I bit the bullet and got him, even though he wasn't marked down that much. So anyway, I do wish the quality was a little higher, but because he's a ventriloquist dummy, I'm willing to give it a little bit of a pass. Little bit, but like I said, I wish he was marked down more when I got him. And if you are not a Goosebumps fan, then I would probably say skip this line unless you find them really marked down, because they are not top of the line by any means. And I do think that because of the amount of plastic they shove in here with this display, that they're overpriced. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. Let's return to the villain shelf that we haven't been to in a little while and find a place for him, okay? Okay. I'm not weak, am I, Slappy? Heck no. Tissue's got nothing on you, unless we're talking 2-ply. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I actually don't remember how he laughs. But anyway, there's where I place Slappy for now, along with his best friend, Infinite the Jackal. I don't know why. I thought it was amusing. And again, as I've said before, that's why I get what I get when I can. So there's Slappy. He's in the villain's lair. Since he's, kind of a magical cursed doll, I've put him on the magical side as compared to the sci-fi side that's already pretty crowded. I'm going to have to work on that. But, he's still Slappy. He is a bit of my childhood, even if he's not the bit that was a major part to me. If they want to come out with a new Transformers line that's just the Animorphs, which I'm sure they did something like that, even if it wasn't Transformers. If they make those, you'll see me at least inspecting them. I don't know how many I'd get, but I would definitely look at them. Animorphs were my jam. Anywho, so there's Slappy. Let me know down below if you think he was worth the $20 I spent on him, or if you think I got ripped off, which I might agree with you on. But if you're a big Goosebumps fan, or were when you were younger, let me know what you feel about this figure. Like, again, he looks fine. He's just, I think he's overpriced. So that's my 2 cents. Let me know yours. But either way, I hope you had a good time in my basement, and I'll see you in the next one.